Classic Country Kicks 101.5. We are back with you this morning, 7 o'clock. It is live, and it is the Sunspot featuring Cindy Fisher from the Selma Sun. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning, Todd.
How are you this morning?
I feel better this week than I did last week as we were in this quarantine and not leaving the house. I felt more uncertain last week. I feel a lot better this week. I think I'm getting a routine going.
That, and I think we've gotten a little bit of positive. Like I said yesterday, it seems like there's been some reports lately where we're seeing the point where we're about to see maybe the light at the end of the tunnel not too long from now. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about everybody obeying the whole don't go a whole lot of places. And
Exactly.
they're really kind of shaming people in the big cities if you think about it, because they've got drones showing people at parks still congregating,
Yeah.
and I don't see that here. And I think being a smaller town helps a lot. We all have other things that we like to do, like being on the river. I live on the river, and I see a lot of boating, and that is social distancing, if you ask me.
Well, exactly, it is. And as a matter of fact, like we've said previous shows, and I've said on my own shows, that the Department of Conservation is promoting the fact that you can social distance from the general public by going to Alabama state parks, going to forever wildlands, places where you can hunt, fish, kayak, boat, do these kinds of things with maybe just your family unit and not a big
Right.
crowd, and still get out. And those things are legal under the shelter in place. You can do those activities if you're doing it in a small group like that and you maintain the distance. So these things are still available. It's good to see people out on the water and boating and stuff like that. So that's a good
And
thing.
fishing, yes.
Yeah.
But some of it's all about us adjusting and accepting what it is that we need to do in order to see the flattening of the curve. And I'm using my air quotes,
Right.
flattening the curve so that it stops going. I mean, when you watch the news from Selma, Alabama, and you watch the national news, it looks like a movie.
Right.
All the 1,000 deaths a day type of thing in New York, it just doesn't seem real because we're not seeing that down here. But I think most people have seen that one person from New York could come down here to see the bridge, and boom, we're all going to
Right.
be like that.
Yeah, exactly. And and to keep it in perspective, I mean, the flu and heart disease and all these things kill people on a daily basis as well. And we've got to put some attention to that. Breast cancer and other cancers and things like that. However, this particular situation seems to be a little bit different because of the fact that it's not a common virus. It's not something that we
It's
have
brand
been.
new.
It's brand new, and it seems to be a lot more contagious than these others. Now, we may not have as many deaths as the flu does annually, but it's something that if it's not contained now, it's going to get out of hand, and we'll have way more. And one of the good things that I wanted to report, and I was glad to see yesterday and today, it seems that in one of the hottest hotspots, New York City, the number of deaths per day and the number of cases per day are flattening off and starting to drop a little. As a matter of fact, there have been more recoveries than deaths the past few days. That is a very good sign, and it's been happening enough days that it appears to be a trend and not a fluke. Still got
Right.
the jury is still out a little bit, but that is a good sign, especially in a place like New York City and Manhattan where it is so bad right now. New Orleans is another hot spot, too, that we were worried about.
And that's not that far from us.
No, it's
in the
not at all.
Right.
So we gotta keep our eyes on that, and again the stay in place law, the washing your hands and wearing gloves and wearing they now recommend you do wear masks, and there's so many of these things that have been put into place that sound kind of silly, but they're there for a reason, and they're starting to work. Because keeping 6 feet distance, keeping small groups, it's starting to work because we're beating the virus very, very slowly, but little by little, it's beginning to have an effect. And here's the thing: you were talking about a minute ago the different things we have to do and to adjust and whatnot. Keep in mind, this is temporary. Once we beat this, and once we get it out of our system and our lives, we can go back to a more normal life. Now, the question is, what's life going to be like after this is over with?
That's the uncertainty.
Right, exactly. I mean, what are we
A
going to
lot,
take?
the economy, and I know us at the Selma Sun, we did actually get some new advertisers last week, believe it or not, healthcare related,
Right.
but a lot of others are afraid to spend any money, so that waiting to see how it's going to go for their own business, which we understand.
Right. Same here at the
We
radio
also think
station.
it's better to double down at a time like this, but small businesses like us are driven by the uncertainty. We
Yes.
hold back our money and seem to spend less on things that could have a trickle effect in the economy. So everything is sort of flattening a curve
Well, and
where no money is being spent, and the economy is going to be it's going to be a hard start to get us to start back into spending again.
well, and I think it's another good sign is the past 2 days the stock market has seen um, not big gains, but it's been in the some in the positive. It's moving back towards the right. And it's been 2 days in a row. In the past few months, it's been down, 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 a little bit up, down, down, down. So it seems like it's a little up, a little down, a little up. So hopefully, again, it may be a fluke because it's just been like 2 days. But if it becomes a trend, then again, there's another sign that little by little we're pulling out of this, and it's going to take a long time to recover completely. It ain't going to be something that's going to like, bam, the virus is gone and everything's back to normal. It's going to take some time. But
I say that the one thing that I have found the most frustrating as a business owner and individual is I don't understand a lot of the programs that are available. So the SBA, the Small Business, um, there are loans available,
right,
but there's some you don't have to pay back. There are some you do have to pay back. There's some that are for payroll, which you write for us, but you're freelance,
right.
so they don't consider that payroll.
Ah,
So
great.
we're not eligible for
Yeah, right,
this, but we're not eligible for a lot of the help they're trying to provide to keep businesses open. But I'm glad they're doing that. That and the banks that are supposed to be giving these loans, which I'm specifically talking about the PPP, which is the payment
hmm,
one where they're helping to keep businesses from letting people go.
right,
Um, you apply through a bank generally, and they've stopped taking applications after two days of it being open. So it's very um, confusing to everyone,
right.
including the banks, including because I've tried to go to my banker who has helped me, but it's more, I don't think you're eligible for that.
Right.
Ask this person, ask that person. And I've spent most of my last week and a half trying to see what kind of relief we could get if we need it, which we don't currently need it, but I foresee it being a problem in the next
Well, you
two
always need to
months.
be prepared for the hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So that's a smart move.
Right, because it's a trickle thing. That's going to
Sure.
happen on the back
Yeah.
end.
And again, it's going to
So
take some time to recover from those situations. So having that in place is going to be a big advantage. And that
and I also
stimulus,
believe being a business owner, it helps for me to be looking at these things just like everyone else. A lot of
sure.
people, as a journalist, that's one of my big things is knowing all across the board how everyone is doing.
Yeah.
I don't like being in a bubble.
Right.
So I know how the pharmacists must feel. I know how um the clothing stores, retailers, which I'm so glad we're going to talk to Cheryl Smedley
Yes.
today because I know she can talk to us a little about how people are feeling out there, and ideas and and coping through this month or two of adjusting. As a business owner, I understand where they're coming from. I'm in the same boat.
Right, and like you said, that stimulus is great, but you need to know how do we get it, who is eligible. Hopefully, Cheryl may know some people that we can go to find that information. And of course, Terry Sewell is supposed to call us. Our Congresswoman is supposed to call us in at a quarter till. She may be able to point in the right direction as well, because I know we were going to ask her
For us
about
individually too,
yeah,
because I know
exactly.
the stimulus, you're supposed to be getting an amount of money that is related to how many kids you have. Also, just with that flat rate of what it's 1,200.
I believe that's
Um,
correct.
but there's a lot of talk out there that it takes a long time to get it. Um, who's eligible, what taxes are they looking at, last year's or this year's, and what makes you eligible. I think there's so many questions. It's so great that today we'll have two great people that can answer a lot of these questions from the ones we have that we know our community does too.
Sure, and in between the two, you've got some information on the shelter in place that we'll talk about that some too. I know there's a lot of leniency and there's a lot of leeway, but there also is repercussions if you don't follow the rules properly, and we'll kind of go over some of that as much as we can right now as soon as we talk to Cheryl. Which let's go on and see. I'm going to see if I can get Cheryl on the line. Why don't you tell us while I'm getting Cheryl on the line? Why don't you tell us a couple of things we can expect in tomorrow's paper?
Right. So we actually have what we're used to doing as a community paper is covering events. We usually have lots of pictures and faces of people at different activities, a sports page with the schools, and if you can imagine, we have no sports, we have no community events. And as a paper that's shining the light on Selma and Dallas County, we would like to have
Good
some
morning.
uplifting stuff.
Well, hey, Miss Cheryl, this is Todd. You're on live with myself and Cindy. And Cindy, to respond to what you're talking about, when there's nothing to shine a light on, then that makes it more difficult. And you're talking about no sport. Well, you hadn't got them to do right now. That's coming back eventually, though.
So we're looking for good stories.
Right.
So if you have them, send it our way.
Hey, Miss Cheryl Smedley from our Selma Dallas Chamber of Commerce. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Todd. I hope you are.
Doing well. And Cindy's on with us. Cindy, can you hear Cheryl this morning?
I can.
Good. Well, Miss Cheryl, we wanted to get you on the Sunspot this morning and talk about some of the things that are going on with our businesses and our retailers around the area. What is the outlook right now? How are things looking for Selma businesses and Dallas County businesses in the midst of all this COVID-19 stuff?
Well, our lodging right now, Todd, as you know, there's a project going on at International Paper. There's over 3,000 workers out there right now with a new expansion of a machine out there. So our lodging is full at this time. Even our Airbnbs are doing well. Our restaurants continuously, need our support. Curbside service is due. And then with the governor asking everyone to please stay home to put a stop to this pandemic that we have, they seem to be the ones that are struggling. Our pharmacies are busy, and of course, our retail. So you can support your businesses by curbside. So I can encourage you to do that, but also at the same time abide by what the governor has asked us to do as well.
Is there anywhere we can go to find out what businesses have curbside, or do we just need to call them ahead?
Well, it's mostly restaurants, right? Essential businesses. So essential businesses would be, restaurants, grocery stores, pharmacies. Those are considered to be essential at this time.
And most all those have got. I know Dave's has the online shopping at shopdaves.com, and you just you can even pay for it online. Mark Smart has curbside. I know, if I remember correctly, the Pilcher McBride, I know, has curbside, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, and
Carter's
has it. So
Carter's.
most of these, you just call ahead, tell them what you need, and they'll just bring it to the car.
That's right.
So that's I'm sure that's a big advantage. What are some of the? We were talking, Cindy and I were talking a little while ago about the stimulus and the, getting the help. I think I remember you having some information about SBA or about loans that businesses can get. Where would we find that information?
Okay. This week, the governor released a website called alltogether.org.
Altogether.org.
And it's ALTOGER together .org. And it's very simple to use. And it asks you if you need help or you can help. And if you need help, you click on that, and it takes you to all these different agencies and programs. It's very simple to use and very informative.
So that's basically it's a collection of the different places to go to get the different help.
Yes, and of course we have information. I have information at the chamber. I'll be glad to assist you with to get you who you need to get in touch with as well.
So basically, we need to call you if we need that. Correct?
Right, and I can give you some information, provide you with information as well. But this website is really good, and on public television this Friday at 7 p.m., and that's on the Alabama Public TV. The Business Council of Alabama is going to be live, and you're going to be able to call in and ask questions. And they're going to have they're going to have business experts, bankers, accountants, and attorneys there to answer questions live.
You said that's Friday at 7 p.m. on APT?
Yes.
That's going to be a big help, too. I'm sure they'll put the number up and everything.
Right, and the number to call in is going to be 1-833-222-4249, and it's going to be from 7 to 10 p.m.
That is this coming Friday.
Yes, on Alabama Public TV.
Fantastic. What is the number there at the chamber?
Okay, our number is 875-7241.
That's the chamber number, and then of course the website
is SelmaAlabama.com.
And you've got all kind of good information there, I know. And that brings me to another question, because I rely on your calendar a lot, because there's so many good events that go on in our area, and they're all on the calendar. However, many of those events have either been postponed or canceled. Have there been any changes? Have there been any more postponements that we haven't heard about yet?
Not at this time. We everything's pretty much been canceled across the calendar for April, and May is always reserved for high school graduation and college graduation. So, so there's not been any change with that much so far yet. We're just, since this latest order with the governor come out, we're just all waiting to see. We can come back to some normalcy after the end of the month.
Well, we hope so, because what will we do for graduations if we don't get to go? Because I know most of the state schools, aren't they actually finishing school at home?
That's right, and that leads me, Pine Belt Wireless is offering a hotspot with free Wi-Fi, but you have to contact them to get a pass, and their number is 878-8003, and that's our local Pine Belt Wireless is offering a service to the students that that need help.
Yeah, because I know a lot of folks don't have good internet, so that would be a great help. Give that number one more time.
878-8000. I wrote 878-8000. That's Pine Belt Wireless.
878-8000. That is a neat. Yeah, I heard about that yesterday. The free hotspot. So that could be a big help to a lot of folks with this homeschooling. It's kind of a new thing for a lot of people. So hopefully that will help them in a lot of ways.
Right, and I want to also remind everybody about the U.S. Census. It's very important that everyone take a few minutes got 10 quick questions, and it takes you no more than 6 minutes to fill out the form. They were mailed in March, so you should have gotten your U.S. Census form in the mails, and we're just encouraging everyone to fill that out because the count's coming in very low, and we're going to lose funding and possibly a congressional seat. So it's very important. If you've got that form and it's sitting around or laying around, please take time to fill it out and put it back in the mail because you count.
That's true. And, I'm glad you reminded me. I still haven't filled mine out, but I was planning on doing it online because you can actually go online and fill it out and don't even have to fill out that form. So you got those two different ways to get it done.
Correct.
I don't remember the website though. Do you do you have that in front of you? Because I didn't.
Well, actually, we have it's alcensus.gov.
There we go. alcensus.gov. There we go, and we can fill it out online. And like you say, it doesn't take any time to do it. So there we go.
And it's just very important because we stand to lose a lot, and we have lots of programs here, and especially during a time like this.
Yes.
Those programs have been sustaining our community.
Very good point, too. So fill that census form out. And, with everybody sheltering at home, you should have plenty of time to do that.
That's right.
Yeah. Anything else, Michelle, that we need to cover while we have you on the line?
Just continue to support our local economy. And please support what our governor's asked us to do these next few weeks. And stay safe. Take care.
That sounds good to me. And as usual, we thank you very, very much. And we appreciate what you do for us at the Chamber and how hard you work promoting Selma and Dallas County. So thank you so much. And thanks for spending some time with us today on the show.
Thank you, Todd.
I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Bye-bye.
That's very, very sweet lady right there, and she does a good job. She works very hard. So, I hadn't even thought about talking about the census, but that is something important. And I know I am the most, I don't want to do what the government says kind of a thing. I don't know. There's this rebellious streak in me that's been there since I was before a teenager. And I always bite my tongue while I'm filling it out, but I also understand that it is very important as far as the programs and the help that we can get, especially in rural, situations like we live in Dallas County. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of people that need that help in Selma and Dallas County. And if we're not properly counted, then,
and it's like the door-to-door way of getting folks to sign in would actually be a great way to get folks to sign and to fill out their portion. But we can't do that right now.
No,
this
that's
is definitely going to be a challenging census year, which has been coming forever. I mean, the 2020 census, even my son asked me about it the other day. Well, isn't that over yet? I was like, but we're in 2020.
Yeah, it kind of just started in March, so it's still got a little time.
Yeah, it does.
But you make a good point that this is an unusual census year because they can't do the door-to-door, and I wonder if that is, it stands to reason that that's the reason why some of the numbers are coming in low.
Yeah, and I hope that won't be a lasting effect. It's just, like you said, a lot of people, and I see it on my Facebook. One of the jokes is I've finished Netflix, which, it's hard to finish Netflix. There's so many things on there. I'm like, who has time to
Really?
just sit and watch? I'm an essential employee, just like you are an essential employee.
Yeah.
Those of us that I work the same amount, if not probably harder than I was before, because I got to come up with more things, and there's so much happening nonstop. I probably write maybe 6 things a day to get out to folks about, because right now our big thing with the Selma Sun is to be a great information source for you. So, I was at a fire yesterday, which we don't usually do breaking news as much.
Right.
But it took the power out for all of downtown Selma. And so my office is downtown, but I'm sheltering in place at the river, so it didn't affect me, but it did affect coworkers, other people that I know are
Sure.
downtown.
Yeah.
So we need to let them know why.
Right.
So I packed up my 13-year-old with a camera, and we drove over there. And this is not breaking the shelter in place, by the way, because I'm an essential employee, but also because I didn't go within 6 feet even of the fire itself, which is put
Right.
out at, and still smoldering. Um, but yeah, those of us that still have to work. I have heard of folks being pulled over in Birmingham in
Right.
Jefferson County, and told to go home, or is this absolutely, like I said, there's some shaming going on. Do you absolutely have a reason that you need to be out right now?
Well, yeah, and
That's
there's a lot of
talking
questions.
about yeah, and I think talking about what the governor had said about the shelter in place, she did put out a frequently asked questions list,
Oh, okay.
because a lot of people have talked about or asked, well, am I going to get fined for going to the grocery store? And actually, here in Dallas County, we do have the pickup for groceries at Walmart, and like you said, at Dave's, which is wonderful. Setting up a website that does e-commerce like that is actually very challenging. So it's impressive that they have figured that out and made it happen just in time for this.
Right.
But a lot of people ask, well, can I go check on my aging mom? Um, so they did put together a frequently asked question at selmasun.com. We do have this posted, but going over some of them, a lot of it is a common sense factor of, do you need to go anywhere? Don't go anywhere if there's more than 10 people. And if you had to go somewhere, 6 feet distance, all that we've heard. But one of the things, they are saying that you're allowed to leave if you're an essential worker.
Right.
If you need to get something that's important to you, to your living, like grocery stores, pharmacies, and then they do allow for curbside, drive-through, which is good. Like Cheryl was saying, the retailers that are suffering the most um, are by far the boutiques, the clothing stores that you
Sure. Yeah.
can't go into, but the restaurants are still able to be open. Not that they're not suffering, because I know they make more money when they have people in.
Of course.
And
Yeah.
and the atmosphere is why you go out to eat.
Yeah, that's
And
one of
I
the main
think
things.
our society, man, our society has got to be suffering with this, because we are so used to, and I've got, my kids at 13 and 10 are just scratching the paint off the walls, used to going out to eat at least once a week, and we aren't doing that at all. We have
Right.
been very, very sheltered in place and quarantined from going anywhere fun. We did order from Mark Smart. They have Bertoloni's, um, frozen Italian meals that are really good, and that's something we're sucker for. We actually had chicken swirls last night, so we're not
Love them.
eating horribly over here.
Yeah, we're doing
So
a lot more cooking at home. We don't go out
we
nearly
do
as
too.
much, but tell you what, I have not yet tried the online service from Dave's, but I know Paul here at the station has, and he said it was great. He ordered, paid, drove into the parking space. There's 2 parking spaces reserved. You sit there, they bring it out to you, you go home, and that's so
Well, and I've used the Walmart pickup a few times, and I will say the last one I did, I ended up without bread, which I'd ordered,
uh oh.
but with a bag of fixings to make coleslaw, which I don't know how to make coleslaw. I don't even like coleslaw that much, but I got somebody else's bag
Oh,
of making coleslaw.
and that
So
kind of stuff is going to happen because
it's
humans
going
are,
to happen. It's
yeah,
it's part of the side effect of the convenience. And
yeah,
me and the kids have been laughing about, Like we had a salad the other day. I wonder if we could use this with the coleslaw.
Well, you know what? You go online and find a recipe. That's another thing I
Let's
noticed. There's
find a way to make
bunch of
coleslaw.
recipes. Yeah, there's a thing online today about what to do for Easter. Different recipes you can do without going and buying a whole lot of stuff.
That's a great point because I like getting the ham.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's worth doing if it's just the three of us.
Well, and like a lot of people love to have the big Easter egg hunts, either the community or the church Easter egg hunts. Well, we can't do that this year. So nope. Talking about doing an Easter egg hunt with your kids in the house. I
gotta find my Easter eggs though. And my kids are a little older, but I bet you if I put some eggs out there, they'd actually do it, especially if there's chocolate in it.
Oh yeah. I'll come over and hunt for those.
Find a way.
Chocolate.
We actually talked about doing a not treasure hunt, but kind of making a activity that would be fun,
like a scavenger hunt kind of a thing.
Scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
I did put together an art corner in the basement. That's a bunch of art supplies that my mom had bought for us before everything. So there's some washable paint, and sketchbooks, and actually Play-Doh. I know my kids are older, but my 10-year-old spent a while making Play-Doh.
That's cool, yeah.
It lets them go back to being kids again.
Yes.
My 10-year-old was not. She
that.
quit with baby dolls, but they're back out again. And Barbies, we're back playing Barbies. And
well, you know what else it's doing? It's helping to spark internal creativity. There's not so much. Now, I'm trying to get my youngest, Drew. His nose is so buried in the computer. I'm afraid it's going to suck him in one day, and he's going to be Tron. But what I'm hoping is that, and little by little, he's starting to go out and help us more because we're doing a lot of mechanic work that we need to do and cleaning in the yard and stuff. And he's starting to get a little more into that. So we're trying to come up with activities like you're doing.
And it's hard.
It is hard. Get them out. We're so accustomed to. All right, kids, here's the TV, here's the computer. Shut up. Let me go cook dinner.
I know, right?
So,
but there are so many nonprofits that have. Spring is the best. Well, fall and spring are the best times to be in Selma, if you ask me, in Dallas County, because there are so many activities. You've got your first Saturday activities, and one example would be, the Children's Advocacy Center, which actually represents Central Alabama, and it's a lot of the Black Belt, usually has their pinwheel garden in April, and they have folks donate for the pinwheels or buy a T-shirt that they can wear on Casual Fridays.
Yeah.
Which I think is really clever when you get to wear jeans, but no one's going to work to wear their Casual Fridays. So they've adjusted to making, and they still have the colorful pinwheels available that you can put in your yard and do a photo of it, put it on social media where you've got it. It's all about the child abuse awareness, or Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, which is what April is. And in this week's paper, so the paper coming out tomorrow for the Selma Sun, we do have a copy of the pinwheel that they have. They're doing sort of a coloring contest. So you can color the pinwheel however you want and send in pictures of your pinwheel. That helps us still be able to share the message of child abuse awareness and prevention without being in person. But I do think kind of like you're looking for the bears. If you've heard about the teddy bears that are in windows, which we pick up the Selma Sun, we pick it up in Camden now.
Oh, good.
And that's a new process from our printer in Monroeville. But while we were in Camden, we saw a bunch of bears in windows.
Yeah, and, that's a neat thing.
And my kids are older; they're 13 and 10, and they actually thought I was corny for pointing them out. I didn't care. I was like, I slowed down and had about 3 cars behind me that were kind of antsy. And I'm like, look at the bears, guys.
That's funny.
Of course, they think I'm a dork. But pinwheels is another thing that they're hoping with the shiny pinwheels to have it in your business, in front of your business or your yard, that maybe you'll slow down and see, or the colored pinwheel in your window that you can color from. It's on page 8, the back page of Selma Sun this week,
Oh,
that you
yeah.
can color. And we
Uh,
also have 2 other drawings on the back of page 8, which is very unique for the Selma Sun this week. Since we have some extra space, we are donating it to a coloring book that is for Selma. And it's G Mama's Cookies that is doing
oh,
this.
yeah, I love them.
And they have it's like 30 or 40 pages of adult coloring books, but also kid coloring books. It's
Oh,
a coloring
wow.
book of all kinds of different landmarks and favorite spots in Selma, Dallas County. And we put 2 in there that you can color from our newsprint, from the newspaper,
Oh, wow.
and get kind of a feel for what that coloring book is for. Now, they're raising money with this coloring book that you can get online at their website, that actually is to help them get back on their feet to start making cookies again.
Yeah.
And this is our lead story for this week, by Fred Guarino, who is one of our star reporters.
I like Fred.
I love Fred, and his wife Cam, who's our art teacher at Morgan Academy. And
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that.
this story is really interesting because he goes into some detail about what happened to G Mama's Cookies, why they haven't been in the store since February of 2019.
I know.
And a lot of us don't realize that. I didn't realize that because the caramel ones are my favorite. But he burned out. And as a business owner that's making thousands of cookies by yourself without
Right.
a contracted, they're looking now for a contracted cookie company that can make the recipe for them so that he can be out there selling. And
Oh, okay.
it was so popular. He had 1,300 businesses that
Yeah.
were selling it for him, but he couldn't meet the demand.
Oh,
And
wow.
and burned out. And I think a lot of us do that. Sometimes as a small business owner, you wonder, am I going to make it?
Yeah.
Can I actually fulfill this by myself? Do I have to hire people? Can I afford to hire people? All of those questions that he had. And he kind of went on to an adventure of looking into other business opportunities, ended up coming right back around a year later.
Well,
And so it's a great story on our cover that comes out tomorrow in the Selma Sun.
and right now those questions are even more so in people's mind with the way the economy is going. By the way, Shell just texted me. That's what that train whistle was. The APT show is not Friday. It's Thursday at 7. She said she made a mistake.
Okay.
It's Thursday at 7. 7 to 9, and it's 833-222-4249. You'll be able to call in and ask those questions. And businesses will need that. That'll be something good.
I think it's so helpful. I know I am searching for answers.
All of us are.
So any kind of opportunity we have, even if we're not going to call in and ask questions, I bet you there's going to be a lot of questions asked that are questions you have.
Right, and your questions will be answered just by watching it. That's very, very true. And and the questions about the shelter in place order and stuff. So, you were talking about people getting stopped in Jefferson County, but my dad had a question. He called me yesterday. I got to get tires for my truck. Can I go out and get tires for my truck? He told me where the place is. It was a fairly far piece from where he lives, and I said that is an essential thing. You got to have your truck to go get groceries. So
I actually needed to get my oil changed Monday.
Well, there you go. That's essential.
I canceled it though because I am so quarantined, people. I am so quarantined that I didn't know if I wanted to do any interaction. So, although I probably should have done it, considering I've got like 2 trips I've got to make to get the paper, to get the papers. So yeah, I probably should have done it anyway. But like you said, we're all questioning what is essential, what in our lives can the oil change wait?
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. It is not illegal. You can go get your oil changed. Like I said earlier, you can go out and go kayaking or go horseback riding and whatnot. Now, I do have to mention this. Unfortunately, at this point, Old Cahaba Archaeological Park is closed.
Is it?
Yes. Linda said they had to shut the gates because, see, keep in mind, that's owned by the Historical Commission, not the Department of Conservation like the Alabama State Parks are. Okay. So it's a different agency, and they closed it down. Now, she said that may change. I haven't heard back. I'm going to call her today or tomorrow and find out if it's changing for the weekend. But she said she was having a lot of traffic. The one thing she did mention was there was one time a group of people, the young people in a fairly large group that had to be broken up. But other than that, everybody was, keeping in their small groups and coming down and having a good time. But anyway, for right now, it is closed. But those type activities are okay under this order. You just got to have a reason. You can't just go driving for the sake of driving, and you can't be
Actually, I think
congregating.
you can go driving for the sake of driving. I've heard a lot of people doing
well,
that.
I'm mistaken. You're correct. Yeah, you are correct about that. One of the biggest things I think this order is about is keeping the groups of people small and keeping the distance. If you're in your immediate family and you stay with just the immediate family group and not getting near a bunch of other people, you're not exposed as much. Now, if
you can go visit family as long as it's just family.
Yeah, exactly. You can't go hang out at a party with all your buddies or something, That's not going to happen.
So many people, especially in the beginning, wanted to do. I know the spring break hit right during the middle of this, and often folks go to Florida and the beaches, they wanted to close it. They didn't close it soon enough. And you did see cases where this group that went to spring break, half of them or more, ended up getting it. And they were outside. It's that contagious.
You caught me with coffee in my mouth. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, that's okay. I think, though, that there are a lot of, the health department is still doing testing in the parking lot on Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 to 2. You do have to make an appointment, but I think I went by last week, the first week they were doing it, and it was busy in the beginning because they had, and this was after our show last Wednesday, I believe. Uh-huh. Where they had 15 or 20 that they had to turn away because they didn't have an appointment. They're trying to do it because they only have so many tests to do. So if you come and say, hey, I've got lupus, I'm at risk, I want to know if I have it, that doesn't necessarily give you the ability to get that test done because they only have so many and they want to do it just with those that have symptoms.
And those, they are ramping up the production of these tests. They're actually creating some new tests that take just hours instead of days.
I know, that would be so wonderful.
Right.
So my father actually had this test done.
Oh.
He has had bronchitis for months, weeks. It's been a long time before we kind of knew that this corona thing was going on. And he'd tried 4 things of antibiotics. It wasn't working. And so they kind of freaked out and thought, and this is in Tuscaloosa County, they thought, well, maybe it's that. So they went and they sat in their car and waited an hour to get tested at DCH, Regional Medical Center. So in the end, it took 2 or 3 days. It was negative.
Good.
But they did discover, hey, you need to be on a different antibiotic, and it did help. He's getting better, but he didn't have COVID.
That's
so
good.
That was a relief, especially because my mom is the caregiver.
Oh yeah.
And we don't want her getting it either. So
well, there's
a lot of questions there on. I think he moved to a different bedroom. He wasn't sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of breakthroughs and studies and whatnot doing that. The hydroxychloroquine, that is showing a lot of promise. There's another drug that is an antiviral drug. I can't remember the name of it. that they're doing some research and some studies right now that looks like it's showing some promise to help prevent it.
But
And
I think there's reluctance to say that's going to work for everyone.
well,
I think they're
yeah,
finding that they can give it to certain folks and it's working for them. I mean, like making the symptoms go away. But I think there's a certain, we still need to know drug interactions
well,
and
sure, and that's what you're going to have to go to your doctor about.
absolutely. It's
But
not a cure, it's not a fix just yet.
not just yet. And the studies are all showing promise. And the antiviral drug seems to be really showing a lot of promise. The Israelis claim they have a vaccine that they may have
Oh,
invented.
really?
Yeah, that could be ready within the next couple of months. There's a doctor out in California who has re-engineered antibodies that were engineered to fight the SARS virus that could be showing promise to fight this. I believe this is going to be Congresswoman Sewell, so let's answer the phone.
Awesome. Let's see.
Scott Communications, this is Todd and Cindy on the Sunspot. Hello, this is Todd and Cindy on the Sunspot.
Hi, it's Congresswoman Sewell. How are you?
Oh, hey, Congresswoman Sewell. I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing this morning?
I'm hanging in there. I hope that everybody in your listening audience are healthy and well and are staying at home and heeding the guidance of staying at home if you can. And I just want to also hats off to the essential workers that are having to go in and work every day. We really do appreciate our health professionals and our law enforcement, our first responders, and our essential folks who are really risking life and limb to help their community. So we want to thank them. But we have to all do our part.
Amen to that. And like you say, especially for the first responders in the healthcare community, because they are literally on the front line. One of the questions I was going to wanted to ask you about, I know that there's a lot of a question about the stimulus and things that are going on up in Washington and how they'll affect us here in Dallas County. Can you give us any guidance or places we can go to find out what we need to know to apply and who is eligible for these different things?
Yes. Well, of course, our website will be updated constantly, and we have a special tab on the Sewell.house.gov website, Sewell.house.gov, like house like is in the house you live in, and House of Representatives. So Sewell.house.gov. We have a special tab, COVID-19, and we have frequently asked questions, everything from frequently asked questions about the direct payment, the stimulus checks that people are calling them, to resources our small businesses can get. We live in extraordinary times, and these extraordinary times required an extraordinary federal response. And so I was fighting hard in that $2.2 trillion stimulus package that we not only help the big airline industry bailing them out, but we also help our small businesses on Main Street, our mom and pop businesses, our beauty shops and barbershops. And I want to make sure that those resources are distributed to our communities. So I really hope that people will apply. I do understand that government, these legacy systems that you have to apply on, the portal for the SBA is breaking down, and that they're just not used to the demand on these systems that we currently have. We do live in extraordinary times, but I ask that people stay patient, stay vigilant, because these resources are real. The first of the stimulus checks will be delivered at the end of middle of April, so around the week of April 15th. At the end of that week, and the IRS is saying that they will deliver those stimulus checks to direct deposit. So you have filed your income tax and you have on file a direct deposit information with the IRS. You will probably be in the first wave. The first wave of direct payments will come via direct deposit. And then the second and third wave will be those paper checks, which won't be distributed until May, middle of May.
Now, if you have not filed your income tax for 2019 yet, will you still be eligible for a stimulus check?
You will, but you will have to file a short form that will require you to do direct action. I realize that this is not the most expedient way to get the resources out. Some of us were fighting on the floor of Congress to do it through, these mobile payment apps that will deliver resources quicker. But, our government is not that nimble, and we lost out on that fight. This administration wanted the Department of Treasury to administer these direct payments, and they're doing it via the Treasury administers through the IRS. So you are eligible. All Americans are eligible if you whether you file an income tax return or not. But those who have filed a 2018 and a 2019 form and have indicated their direct deposit information will receive their stimulus checks quickly through direct deposit. I think that if you are not a filer, but you're on Social Security and the Social Security Administration has your details, you receive your retirement income through the Social Security Administration, those checks will also go in direct deposit via the Social Security Administration's information. So this is not the most nimble and effective way or timely way to distribute the direct payments, but those direct payments of $1,200 is the maximum if you make an income under $75,000 a year. There's also a $500 additional for every minor child. And so this is real money, and we want to put it in the hands of real Americans, and we're going to try to do that as quickly as we possibly can.
I know this is kind of an off-the-wall question about it, but do you know if there is any provisions for special needs people that are living at home still, even if they're not considered, or even if they're in their adult age?
So as long as you are not, if you're a special needs or disabled adult and you're being claimed on someone else's income tax as a dependent, you will not get a separate check.
But will the caregivers, like the parents of that
caregivers,
person?
Yes.
Yeah.
The caregivers will get their $1,200, their $1,200. But the only dependent, the $500 dependent is for minor child under 17 years old. That's just the way the regs are written, yeah. Not necessarily how I would have written them, but, Congress laws are made. It's an interesting sausage-making effort to put together compromises in order to get bills out the door. So not exactly how I would have done the bill if I were doing it by myself. But
right.
We're compromising and working with others. That's the way the legislation, the CARES Act, was written.
I got you. I understand. So what we need to, if you have your 2018 and 2019 filed, then you're good. And you're talking about direct deposits going out first, and then after that, the people who don't have direct deposit will get paper checks. And you said when, in May?
Yes, May. So the mid to in April will be the direct deposits, and mid-May will be paper checks.
Fantastic.
And remember, you can go onto the IRS website and you can actually file a short form that gives the critical information, your direct deposit information, and in order for the IRS to find you and to be able to give you your checks if you do not file with the IRS.
Fantastic.
Or you're not a Social Security beneficiary.
I got you.
With your direct deposit information on file with the Social Security Administration.
That's fantastic. Is there anything else going on that we might need to know about as far as the response to COVID-19 here that's going to affect us here in Dallas and Selma?
Well, first of all, I just want to make sure that the folks back home in my hometown of Selma, that they're really adhering to the stay-at-home order. I applaud Governor Ivey. I wish she had done it sooner. This is a serious virus, and just because we are not hearing about so many cases in the Black Belt doesn't mean that the virus is not alive and well in the Black Belt. It just means that we haven't had enough testing going on in the Black Belt.
Very true.
I'm glad to know that we have Maine Care is offering testing in the city of Selma, as well as the Public Health Department is having certain selected hours for testing in Selma. I just want to remind folks that you have to be symptomatic. The state of Alabama received its first resources beginning of middle of March. That first stimulus check package that Congress passed at the beginning of March, Alabama received over $15 million to start setting up these testing sites and to acquiring these testing kits. And right now, the priority is with those who are symptomatic. And we can understand that. If you have limited resources, you're going to test those that are showing the symptoms of the virus. We haven't gotten to a place where everyone can get tested, and we haven't gotten to a place where all 67 counties have testing kits. And I talk daily with Dr. Scott Harris, who is the Alabama Public Health Officer. He's assured me that he's rolling out these testing sites as quickly as he possibly can. So our public health officer in the state of Alabama and our local county public health departments are the ones that are trying to shore up these screening sites.
Well, I don't envy Dr. Harris right now. I know he is a very busy man. He's doing a very good job. So, and one more time, give us the website that you have that has the resource information on it again.
It is my website. It's Sewell, SEWELL.house, HOUSE.gov, Sewell.house.gov. We have a special COVID-19 tab on our website, and we list lots of information. We have the CDC guidance on there. We have frequently asked questions about the direct payments, frequently asked questions about small business resources, frequently asked questions about unemployment, getting unemployment compensation if you've been laid off or furloughed, as we've asked businesses to shut down in order to flatten the curve and stop the spread of this virus. You know, when we're talking about flattening the curve, what we're talking about is containing the spread of this germ.
Right.
And so the best way that we can stop the spread is that if you don't have to go out, stay at home. Stay at home. The stay-at-home orders are real. And as I've been watching and I've been getting these reports from Alabama, we're seeing that a disproportionate amount of those who are getting the virus and dying from the virus are people of the African-American community. So I say to the folks in the Black Belt and who can hear my voice, if you can stay at home, stay at home. We've got to get the young people to realize that they can be asymptomatic, not carrying any symptoms, and still be spreading that virus back home to their parents and their grandparents. And so this is a serious matter, and we need to see that people are dying from this virus. I've talked to several of my colleagues in New York City and in the state of Washington and California. They're experiencing this far worse than we are in Alabama. But they're the ones right now who are trying to do all that they can to flatten that curve. And we will experience it in Alabama, and whether or not our peak will be bad or not depends upon what we're doing right now. So if I can impress upon everyone, the importance of the staying at home, of adhering to social distancing, staying 6 feet apart, even when you're at home, being very cognizant of those people who are loved ones who have pre-existing conditions that make them more vulnerable to this virus. Let us do all that we can within our own limits. Personal responsibility. Personal responsibility is really important. Government serves as a conduit. These are important federal resources that I fought for in Washington that clearly I want to make sure that our community gets its fair share of. So we want to make sure that if you need unemployment, that you are applying to the Alabama Department of Labor. You can only apply online, and there's a call-in number as well. All of that information is on our website, sewell.house.gov. And so I just want to make sure that we're doing what we can to spread the word about these resources that are available for small businesses, individual direct payments, as well as information about unemployment claims. Those are important, and those resources are available on my website.
Well, thank you so much, Congresswoman Sewell, for spending your valuable time with us today and letting us know about the website and all the other information. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and you yourself stay healthy. And again, thank you for sharing with us.
Absolutely. Today I'm going to have we're calling them the Terry Talks. Every Wednesday throughout this crisis, we'll have Terry Talks in which I will invite a trusted, government official that's doing their job to spread the word among my listeners and among my constituents. And today we have the regional director for the Small Business Administration on for 30 minutes with me on a Facebook Live at 2 p.m.
Oh, wow.
A Terry Talk at 2 p.m. today, Facebook Live. That's Representative Sewell is my Facebook handle, and I hope that people who run small businesses or who have been affected by this coronavirus, our small barbershops, small mom and pop shops, to listen to directly from the regional SBA administrator how to access the small business resources, federal resources, and they are voluminous. We're offering free loan forgiveness, and that our nonprofits and our churches may be able to apply. If they have 501c3 arms, they may be able to apply for some of these small business resources, and I hope they'll do that.
Fantastic, and that's at 2:00 at Representative Sewell on Facebook.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for getting the information out to our community and for all that you and your radio station does to spread the word. If we could do anything, let's stay at home. It's here to the stay-at-home order, and let's hunker in and get this virus to stop being spread in our community.
Thank you again, Representative Sewell, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much, sir.
Representative Terry Sewell, our Congresswoman, and like she says, stay at home. Stay at home is the trick.
Yes, very important and very helpful information.
Very much so. Cindy, why don't you give us a quick rundown of what we can expect in tomorrow's paper as we wrap up the show?
So one of our top stories is about businesses that are coming back. We've got about the G-Mama's Cookies and Robert Armstrong, who is being a little bit candid with us about what he's got going on with coming back. Also a coloring book that he has got out there on Selma and some Selma landmarks. We have a lot of wrap-up stuff about what's going on with Walls Community College and what they're doing for their spring graduation. And we have information about some stores that have closed because employees have had and been tested positive for COVID. So, and also unemployment rates. We have some early data that shows that the claims for unemployment have gone up already, and that's for mid-March. So it's only going to get higher as we look more and more into this pandemic.
Well, all right. Thank you so much. It was a good show. I appreciate you, and we'll do it again next week. How's that?